The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time. It's Thursday. It's Korner Booth pregame.
You ready? No debate, cause it's all. I'm too official, got the drip, I got the sauce. Bring the proof when it's time to tell the truth. I'll be at the corner booth, find me in the corner booth, yeah. Still standing and defiant, slay the competition cause I'm walking like a giant. Bring the proof when it's time to tell the truth. I'll be at the corner booth, find me in the corner booth, corner booth.
I see as well. Kate, I feel like I have not officially said this. I've tiptoed around it. Kate, will you marry me?
Do I have to answer now? Or
No, you have time. You can think about it. You can think about a way to say no without hurting my feelings if you want.
Oh my
lovely.
God.
I'll send you a letter.
Just don't even.
Okay, cool. Thank you. I'll send you my address later so you can send it to my house.
Yeah, I'm never giving you my address. I don't want you getting that close.
Oh, I know.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Korner Booth pregame. I am your host, Jared Clem, alongside this handsome devil, the newly married. Congratulations to him, Bianca, obviously. Mr. Matthew Ordazzo. We are playing each other this week in actual NFL ball. My Eagles are taking on his Jets this week. Don't worry, Jalen Carter and Slay are playing, buddy. I don't mean to damper your hopes a little bit, but Jalen Carter might kill Zach Wilson.
That's, my hope of only losing by 7 is now diminishing.
Well, the problem is your boy Boom Carton had to just say some stupid shit on TikTok today.
Well,
Now I want them to beat him by 50.
Well, Carton he just despises Philadelphia.
I know, and I despise Craig Carton. So
he, I think it's his wife's family are all Philly fans, and he's not a Philly guy at all. So I'm not surprised that he said that stuff like that. But also, if you go into history, how many times has he been right with anything he said, which is not really often. So I wouldn't be too worried about that coming true.
very little. And joining us now, a first-time guest on the Korner Booth pregame. This man hosts the Time to BS with Staniel Smooth. Ladies and gentlemen, my good man, a resident a Seahawks fan from Long Island. I have never heard of this, but I'll roll with it today. Ladies and gentlemen, my man, Staniel Smooth. He cranked a beer on site. I love it.
It's not even a beer. It's a Truly. I don't have any beer on me, so get what you get, lads. You don't get upset. And not only resident Seahawk fan from Long Island, but also I do have the hockey love on one bicep and the football on the other bicep. I swear to God, don't do this to me now. What a start.
Hey, listen, buddy. I was hosting the football the Belly Up. We tried doing Belly Up After Dark. It was a decent success. I might do another one around like Thanksgiving time. Might be a fun time to throw one out there. But I was trying to start this up. My laptop decided it was going to have a seizure while I was trying to start the damn intro video up. And I'm just like, okay, at this point, I'm off to a terrible start, so we'll just roll with it. But if any of you haven't checked out Time to BS with my man, Daniel, do you want me to call you by your alter ego on the show, or can I use your real name on here?
Dan Staniel, I don't give a shit.
Okay, so this is Dan, one of the funniest dudes I know. I
appreciate that.
Me and him have had a couple good calls for Belly Up, me doing like my podcast work. So I'm like, dude, have you ever come on the show and just BS with the boys for a little bit? He goes, no. I'm like, well, you're coming on this week. I love it. Also, DJ Stewart will be joining us later. So will Mason. The intern is at Citizens Bank Park tonight, pulling for a Red October game. We won a Diamondbacks Phillies NLCS. Me being a Snakes fan, obviously. That's why I'm drinking a little Wild Turkey Long Branch.
God bless you.
In honor of my Diamondbacks. So
God bless you, man. I don't know how Dave Roberts still has a job.
Because he won the World Series. So that gives you like a 3-year buffer.
Even before that, I never looked at this guy and said, this guy doesn't scream good manager.
He screams he had one lucky stolen base in 2004.
He screams he's the product of a fantastic roster in LA.
True. And
Ask
one
him
thing
about his other sports teams if you want to feel a little worse. Ask him about his basketball team.
I see an Eagles jersey behind you that I have sympathy for.
Go Birds! I'm also a Timberwolves fan for basketball, and
Okay.
I am a Pittsburgh Penguins fan for hockey. So that Islanders tattoo gives me PTSD.
I can't. I think David Volek in '93.
Listen, I've been a Pens fan since I was told to be a Pens fan. Ironically, the year that Sidney Crosby became a Penguin. So me and Crosby are linked. I don't know what I'll do once he retires. I'm not ready for the bad years to come back, but listen, it could be worse, okay? I know a lot of people who root for way worse teams.
You talking about this right here? Or?
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
God bless you, man.
Guys from New York.
God bless you.
I try.
God bless you.
Oh,
I mean,
God.
I can't say anything, but the Islanders were a perennial doormat for the first 20 years of my life, so I can't say anything.
But you know what? You acknowledge it. It makes you better than 80% of sports fans on this planet.
Yeah.
Like, my favorite is the delusionally bad fans. Tell the intern to mix in the water. He's at the bank tonight. He's not mixing in the water. He might come out in handcuffs, knowing him.
I saw a post from, what was it? I think U Stadium, friends of Time to BS since the beginning.
Yeah.
They posted a list of potential names to be moved in the trade deadline coming up on October 31st.
Okay.
And I posted, somehow Jet fans will find a way to make a delusional comment on how they can get every single player on this list. And it was like pages long.
Well, I mean, that's not just Jet fans. That's every East Coast team's fan. I didn't realize this was a thing.
Most of them.
I have friends who are other fan bases. So I have friends who are Niner fans who tell me, like, oh, yeah. We thought we were getting CJ, GJ, and Hargrave from you. I'm like, with what salary cap? Like,
yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not a cap nerd. I reserve that more to Matt's side of the analytics. I'm more of a film guy. But my favorite thing about this whole argument is when you're looking at the offseason, right? And you're looking at wish lists and trade deadlines. Every year, there's always the can't miss prospect. And Dan, I'm honestly happy you picked this up because one of our first topics is possible trade destinations. We'll get into it in a second. But I don't know. Other fan base I would love to sound off, Niners fans, Jets fans, Patriots fans, everyone. I want to hear what they have to say because going into the deadline, 2017 ruined it for me because the Eagles plucked Jay Ajayi for a bag of potatoes. So I look at then it's Golden Tate the next year. I'm like, oh God, we're on a streak. 19, nothing. 20, nothing. 21, nothing. Then last year we get Robert Quinn. Yeah. Woo! Howie's swinging for the fences. But no, the Ndamukong Suh, that signing him and Linval Joseph, that was instrumental to us.
That was our sneaky good move.
Robert
in multiple
Quinn had
ways.
a grand total of how many? You guys want to know Robert Quinn's stat line last year? I have it memorized. He has half a sack, 2 tackles for a loss in like over 200 snaps played. It was abysmal. I was like, we wasted it was a 7th. We got him for a 6th rounder. So there obviously could be worse trade ups here. So I'm not going to act like we haven't made worse ones before.
Percy Harvin played 4 games for the Seahawks
and won you a Super Bowl. I rest my case.
I think I had his jersey for half a season.
Percy Harvin with Minnesota was scary. He was
Percy Harvin baked was scary. The fact that dude smoked weed his entire pro and collegiate career and like just would run past people like they were like breezes in the wind. Oh, and we all forget he was a number 1 recruit in his class.
Florida, yeah.
Yeah, and that Florida team with the worst documentary of all time, by the way. The fact that Florida documentary didn't show anything about Cam Newton, theft, Aaron Hernandez, none of this shit. It was just a feel-good story. So Tim Tebow and Chris, and they didn't even show Chris Leak, who was the guy Tebow replaced.
I would love to chill and have a drink with Tim Tebow if he does drink. I would love to have a cigar with that man. That is a gorgeous human being. Let's all be real here. We're all dudes here.
Danny's out here like, you know what? He's hot. I'll admit it. Listen, I'm not judging you for that because listen, we actually.
I'm not going to get cucked by him though. Let's be real though.
Oh my god, my favorite thing of all time is that we actually have a friend of the show who is actually used to work for Tebow. Our boy Cruz, works for Barstool. Yeah. He's a regular on our show. He actually worked for Tebow's organization, which was like he said it was like the most surreal experience of all time. And he said Tim is like the coolest dude ever, which was cool to hear.
Oh yeah.
So, but he's intense, but he's cool.
Yeah.
But then again, like I've worked for intense people before, some cool, some not, but it's also kind of the way you run off of it. But like my favorite part about the whole Florida thing, we'll get into trade proposals in a second, because apparently everyone on the freaking Broncos not named Russell Wilson is getting dealt. So,
don't buy it. I don't buy it.
Oh no, I totally buy it because I think
Sean Payton, buy it at all. I don't.
Is shot. But
it's not it's not even the culture thing. I spoke to a lot of Bronco fans that I told them this past offseason, hey, watch out for Sean Payton. He could get hired as the next Broncos head coach. And I said, it's going to take you a little bit, but he's going to win you over. He's a Parcells guy. That's what people forget. He comes from the Parcells coaching tree. So he has Coach Parcells in the back of his head. And you're starting to see Russell Wilson in particular play better. I've never seen a man with that level of talent play as poorly as he played last year. He was abysmal. And coaching matters. Coaching absolutely matters.
I don't think you can blame Nathaniel Hackett for that, though, because I believe there's a lot of issues. Because you look at Hackett's offense, everywhere else he's played, everywhere else he's coached, it's been good. Listen, he got Zach Wilson to score 31 points on the Broncos.
I see the Jet fan over there with like the false levels of optimism in there and his glorious beard. Dude, have faith, please. You drafted this kid second overall for a reason. Please.
No, it's not that. It's just Zach didn't put up 31. The defense put up like half of that amount of points.
The defense has been great.
No, they have. I've never seen Zach play the way he did against the Chiefs, and I was very excited, very happy for it. And I was hoping he would mirror it against a worse team. And he just had a subpar, 199-yard game, no touchdown.
Progress.
I hate
it. Was progress in the sense of
progress.
Yeah. It was progress in the sense of he was making a lot more smarter decisions. He didn't make really bad passes. That was a 50-50 ball. It's just, I guess I'm just a Jets fan. The patience is very thin over here.
You don't need Kirk Cousins. Let's be real here. You do.
No. Listen, I don't know if we're getting into it right now or not, but my thing with Kirk Cousins is that one, he has a no trade. Two, if he waives his no trade and he comes to anywhere, he's going to want a contract. I don't think Kirk Cousins is going to come to the Jets and just ride out this like 3 or 4 months and then just hit the free agent market. I think he's going to want some sort of, he's got a family. He's probably going to want some sort of security, has some sort of deal. The Jets aren't going to give him a contract when they have Aaron Rodgers coming back next year. They're probably going to just keep Zach, have Rodgers run it next year and just see what happens after that. So I don't think Kirk's coming. I'd rather this team go out and trade for a receiver since they're already going to try and get rid of Mecole Hardman. They lost Corey Davis.
Jerry Jeudy.
I'll take Jerry Jeudy for sure. I'll take Jerry Jeudy, Devontae Adams, whoever is out there and available. But you lost Corey Davis. You traded Elijah Moore away. He's not really doing anything in Cleveland. I actually checked his stats. He has like 150 maybe receiving yards in those games on like 19 receptions, no touchdowns. And then you get
said something like that in the preseason. Everyone made fun of me.
Yeah, I thought he would do well in Cleveland. I thought he'd be like the number 2. He'd be higher up on the depth chart, but he's not. It's pretty much a similar situation over there that he had. But I just don't know why. My issue right now is I don't know why Randall Cobb is getting 40 plus snaps a game and Mecole Hardman has had 1 reception. Like, why isn't the youth and the speed getting the burn time? Why is old man Randall Cobb getting all of this play time? And you have Mecole Hardman, who is a speedy, underrated receiver, wide receiver 3, like a good slot speed guy. Why is he not getting anything? That's just my issue right now with this offense. And it's just not consistent.
Kev makes a good point. I see
Don't
Kev.
gas up Kev. Don't gas up Kev too much, man.
But he does. He makes a good
Oh
point.
no, he does. Also, he was my original co-host on this show, and we literally, yes, I am a diehard Hurricanes fan.
Love that. Love that.
So, Kev made a good point, but also on our draft special back in 2021, me and Kevin vehemently warned. We said if the Jets draft Zach Wilson, this is going to be a problem. They should either trade back or overcorrect and go get like Justin Fields.
Yeah, and that's exactly what I wanted. My list was Lawrence was 1 to me, and Fields was 2, and I don't know. I had Mac before Zach.
I blame coaching for Justin Fields' problems. I don't blame Justin Fields for all.
But
Nope,
I was
can't at all.
I wanted not like Fields is elite or anything, but I preferred him over Zach, and I'm still hopeful. Like there's small progress as he keeps building forward, but it's tough when you're a season ticket holder to you just can't see more than 7 wins. It feels like
No, not at all. And it's odd because half of me wants to give Zach Wilson the benefit of the doubt because I see him actually give a fuck. Like that Chiefs game, he won me over. I went from being a Zach Wilson shitting on person, like I was president of just duking on him any chance I got, right? Then I watched the kid look like death after he basically was cheated out of a win, and he gave it his all, and his fumble was like the catalyst to start the problems. And he goes, and the fact that he took ownership, I'm like, okay, this kid's got it. He finally understood. I'm a sucker for a redemption story. Like I get so much shit for this, but one of my favorite players growing up was Michael Vick, not just because he was a quarterback for the Eagles, but because of he took the sentence. What he did was absolutely fucking atrocious. And he'll have to answer to that before our creator, but for when his time's up. That's what I tell him. Well, listen, who are you to judge somebody when you have made like, I'm not trying to get religious here, but he will have his own judgment when his day is over.
He paid his dues, and he took responsibility for the heinous things he did. And that is more of a man thing that anyone could ask for.
And so that being said, he comes in, he is humbled by being a backup to McNabb, gets a shot when Kevin Cobb's brain gets turned to jelly by Clay Matthews, and lights it the fuck up for 3 seasons. And you know what? 3.5 seasons. And it was the greatest redemption arc I'd ever seen. It sucked that it ended with Chip Kelly and then having to go to the Jets and then being backup for the Steelers. It was unfortunate how his career ended, but his redemption arc was there. And he's still one of the most memorable quarterbacks in college in college and pro football of all time.
Also unstoppable in Madden 04.
Oh, unstoppable in Madden 25 with the all 25 team too. But that being said, Zach Wilson won me over. So I don't think the Jets are going to. I agree with you, Matt. I don't think the Jets are going to get Cousins. I think Cousins stays put. I think Jerry Jeudy is gone. I think there's more to the fire sale than people are saying. I think Sean Payton is getting rid of guys who he doesn't like their personality in his culture. So I think he's had a problem with Jerry Jeudy for a while, and he's ready to ship him.
I wouldn't blame him.
Also, by the way, a great fit for Jerry Jeudy. These guys.
The Eagles?
He's boys with Devontae Smith. He knows Jalen Hurts, and they need his guy who can run underneath in the slot. And they have the cap space to take his card. And and the problem is Quez Watkins has been abysmal this year when he's on the field. A third option would be this is right up Howie's alley. Howie would be like, hey Sean, 3rd rounder or 4th rounder, swap. And then Jerry Jeudy's wearing an Eagles uniform. I could also see him going to Kansas City because that's a total fit. But they wouldn't trade him in division.
Nope.
Possibly, bear with me now. I could see him going to San Fran, being that 3rd option.
Personally, I mean, who's the salary cap expert again between the two of you? That direction. Okay.
There you go.
Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but San
Yeah.
Francisco is in cap hell for the next 4 years.
Yes, but a 1 year half-year rental on Judy won't kill their cap.
Regardless, you got to think of the future of the club in that particular regard. They're fine. They have 3 great options at receiver, plus George Kittle, plus McCaffrey. I mean, that team's a fraud enough. I mean, they don't need him. They just don't.
No, okay, so I will say this. I think the biggest thing with Judy is Judy's going to go to a team that's just on the outside looking in, just barely, or they're going to go to some contender that's going to push them over the edge.
Detroit. Look at the Lions.
That's my thing. But there's also, like, Detroit would also be like that team who would sneakily make a deal for Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Just stick it to the Packers one more time a year. And to get Jared Goff, who has the accuracy of, like, a Russian military sniper. Like, and also, by the way, talk about redemption arcs. I think Jared Goff deserves a hug from all of us.
Yes.
Because he was screwed over in LA. Then gets shipped off to, it's almost like the plot of Tulsa King, where he gets shipped off to fucking nowhere, aka Detroit, and builds his own business back up with some crazy redneck, Dan Campbell. And
hey, that man likes to bite kneecaps with pride.
I'm surprised I haven't gotten that guy Suarez, the Mexican soccer player. He likes biting necks, he likes biting kneecaps. We're good.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised too if like Jerry Jeudy or somebody goes to everybody goes to the AFC East, it feels like, but I know Buffalo was high in on DeAndre Hopkins and that didn't happen.
Need a linebacker now.
Buffalo needs a linebacker, but they also
corner.
Josie Jewell. I mean, if Buffalo were to be smart in this regard, they could say, "Hey, we'll give you our first for not only Jerry Jeudy, but Josie Jewell, who's a pretty good player."
Or they say, hey, listen, we'll give you a first, a second, and a second next year, and you guys give us Pat Surtain.
They're not trading Surtain. I don't think they trade Surtain.
No, listen, they've actually, his name's been floating. I didn't believe it until I saw 2 Broncos beat writers tweet about it. I was like, oh, they really are serious.
I'm torn because the Frank Clark, who they signed during the offseason, like late in the offseason. He did a salary cut or whatever. He's now under the veteran minimum deal in Denver. Which means you have a team like, let's say, yours truly, who their defense has gotten better. In fact, significantly better. Seattle has. Yes, Donut, I'd agree.
And also, I think Donut was trying to interrupt. Apparently, Frank Clark's getting cut in the next 2 weeks.
I don't think he gets cut. I wouldn't. He's got good value considering that.
Right here. I got texted this by my buddy 30 seconds ago. He goes, "Hey, I know your dude's talking about Frank Clark. I just saw this on ESPN. I was like, uh-oh."
But conveniently, they're saying in a couple weeks, which is the deadline. So
yeah,
pretty much
they're going to try to move him, or they're going to try to move him, or they're going to try to cut him.
I would say John Schneider will be all over this. Be like, hey, look, George Payton, we'll give you a 5th rounder for Frank Clark, and he fits like a glove. He got drafted by them in 2015. I think the only time he had 12 or more sacks was 2018? He was last there. And then he's done great in the playoffs, let's be real here, but in the regular season, Kansas City's defense does not necessarily fit what his play style is. Neither does Denver. Mm-hmm. And Pete's system has always been, okay, this is your role. Go play your role, but help us win games.
Yeah, no.
Their defense.
It's why I respect Pete Carroll, because I loved him back in his days at USC as a head coach. It's that's always been his shtick, right? And
yeah.
And what's interesting right now is, like, I just went through with my buddy, the same friend who was watching the show right now. He just texted me. He goes, "Hey, Can you check out this article quick and just go through it and see what you think? It's like 7 Broncos in there. I'm like, okay, they're really hitting on this fire stuff. But one name besides there's 2 Panthers in there. We all know Brian Burns. That's the big target. Everyone knows Burns is probably going to get moved to the deadline because they don't want to pay him.
Derek Brown.
No. Jeremy Chin.
I could see it.
So, you know
He's
who's number
really
one?
good.
The number 1 team who's looking at Jeremy Chin, apparently, the number 1 fit.
Other direction. There you go.
It's always fucked up every time. Dude, the Eagles with Jeremy, because they have a good free safety. Reed Blankenship is a great, he's kind of a more athletic Harrison Smith.
Yeah.
Better coverage, not as hard of a hitter, but like, he's very similar in the play style of Harrison Smith. They don't have a strong safety. They have a rotating door of Justin Evans, Terrell Edmonds, and then their soon-to-be starter eventually, Sidney Brown, brother of Chase Brown, Bears running back, or Bengals running back, whatever. Some Midwestern team that doesn't use him, right? Jeremy Chin to the Eagles makes a lot of sense. Now, will Howie do it? He's a little hesitant on defensive players. He doesn't really pull the trigger midseason on defensive backs and linebackers. Usually it's edge rushers.
He's going to get paid, though.
But
Chin's going to get paid.
Chin's going to get paid. And the thing is, the Eagles do have the cap space down the road because Cox retires, I think, at the end of the season, most likely.
Kelsey.
Brandon Graham might retire. He might play till he's 1,000. So I don't know. Kelsey might retire. There's a lot of open cap spaces. But anyway, before we keep going, talking NFL trade rumors, joining us now, 2 very handsome gentlemen. One is considered the body double in his next action movie for Hunter Renfrow. He's one of the smartest human beings I know, a resident Colts fan, and the host of the High Low Sports podcast. There you go. Ladies and gentlemen, DJ Stewart.
Glad to be aboard.
And now joining us, a Chris Collinsworth impersonator, voice-wise, not shape. Mason's a lot better looking than Chris Collinsworth, okay? Collinsworth's fugly. A fantasy football expert, a Houston sports fan, except for football, which I don't know. At this point, he might want to switch back. Ladies and gentlemen, resident Astros fan celebrating their advancement to the ALCS for the 515,000th fucking year in a row. Ladies and gentlemen, my co-host, Mason Rutch.
What's happening?
I hit the wrong button there.
It's okay. Listen, you brought the stereo board for a first-time guest. I love it. Mace, we're talking NFL trade targets right now. We talked. We all kind of shot down the Kirk Cousins on the move thing. We were starting to talk Broncos. Are you buying this whole DJ? And we'll go Mason then DJ. Are you guys buying this whole Broncos sell-off thing, or you think it's a lot of smoke screen to see what they can get?
I feel like with those contracts, there's just no way, man. Like they've got so many players, excluding Russ, that the rumor I did see was Frank Clark. I saw Frank Clark is either getting released or he's getting traded, which on that, I can see that totally happening. But I mean, I don't see them like, and Judy. I saw them that they're trying to move Judy. So yeah, they're deep enough at wide receiver that I could see them moving Judy, who's been, to be honest, this is his 3rd year in the league. Pretty underwhelming all 3 years. Plus he had the injury. Well, he's had multiple injuries. I could see them shopping him and seeing what's out there. And then Frank Clark, I mean, I don't really
Garrett
think
Bowles was the one I saw was like was one of the highest odds because like so many teams need offensive line help. It's an easy no-brainer for a lot of teams. The problem is, do you have the draft capital to get them?
Right, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, dude, they suck. I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. I will say this. With the younger players, guys like Javonte Williams, guys like Marvin Mims, who's had some solid weeks so far, I don't think those guys are getting shopped. Sutton, like I don't really think they're shopping Sutton. Like I don't see
they're
that
gonna
happening.
hang on to that contract. They're not getting rid of him yet.
I feel like I'm missing someone else. Pat Surtain. Pat Surtain is not getting moved.
I kind of buy. I'm kind of
Yeah,
If
Pat
somebody does
Surtain's not
enough-
getting moved, bro.
Listen,
He's a top 5 backer in the league.
But
He's not
the
getting
thing is, Sean's trying to clear the culture house too. And honestly, if you say Buffalo doesn't throw out 2 firsts and a second and possibly a name player,
In that case, they trade him, but they're not trading him for just a 1 or like a 1 and a 3. They're
I know it's gonna
Yeah,
take
the
a
price
ransom.
is going to
Though.
be steep.
It's gonna take a ransom though, basically. But Deej, what do you think about the Broncos fire sale? You buying this shit, or you think it's all smokescreen?
I'm not gonna say a fire scale sale, maybe like an ember sale. Like they're gonna get rid of some of those things. They're gonna ditch some of those players. Like for Patrick Surtain, you'll do it for the Kings ransom. Jerry Jeudy, I think, is gone. I think he's got to get paid soon too. You can't risk him having a blow up year. You pay him, then he tears his hamstring. He's been kind of a disappointment for them, partially because quarterback sucks there, and has been since he got drafted. But as a whole, I think Jerry Judy's gone. We already mentioned Frank Clark. I think some of those guys that are either paid and getting older or about to get paid are going to go. Patrick Surtain, I think, it'd take a King's ransom. Sutton, they're holding on to. They're stuck with Russ, Javonte Williams. So Marvin Mims, those guys will stay as mentioned. But some of those guys that they might be able to flip for a good draft pick while their value is kind of high, I think they'll do that. So like Jerry Jeudy, I'll say, I think Jerry Judy's as good as gone. They're just going to see if they can get like a 3 for him, but they'll most likely get like a 4, I feel like.
I mean, some squeaky's always getting absolutely like assaulted right now.
Witt doesn't touch the toy all day until the moment I start talking. He's like, I'm going to play now. Went the entire day without touching it.
It's okay. Listen, there was I think it was a couple shows ago. Ghost started me like yowling like he was like caught on fire, and he's just sitting there. He's like looking at me to give him attention. I'm like, fuck, you see, I'm on the show right now. He's been watching this for 2 years now. He knows. It's okay.
Donut will do that all the time, no matter when I'm recording. She'll always do it. She knows she's the princess of this castle, and she'll do whatever she wants.
There you go.
They really
listen, I'll give a strip. So, like, the last thing I want to talk about before we move on, we'll talk a little baseball quick. Because I think me and Mace deserve our due tonight. And of course, Chris. Even Chris's boots on the ground. I think he's tailgating right now. And then we'll talk a little ruck report, and then we'll get right into and we'll talk some gambling picks. We'll speed run this quick. Last thing I want to touch on. I talked about Jeremy Chin and Brian Burns. I think there's going to be a surprise player nobody's going to see coming. That's going to be the first one moved. I think the big like whale. I don't know. It's not going to be like, I think it like, obviously I think like maybe like Chase Young gets moved, but the Commanders are delusional. So I don't know if it's going to roll.
Terry McLaurin, maybe?
Nah, Clark's not big enough of a whale. I think somebody like that nobody's talking about is going to get dealt.
I could see that, DJ. I could, man. Like it's criminal. I saw like a graphic today that showed it was either the target share or maybe like the snap count for both McLaurin and Jahan Dotson.
Ooh, scary.
And they were both, I got to find this graphic again. I think it was on Twitter, but it was both under 35%. So let me, if that's like target share, that's honestly like not that bad, but
combined.
While you're looking, Dan, you got something. I can see it in your eyes.
So there is a certain team out in the desert that, let's be honest here, they're still going to tank. Let's be real here. They got 2 first-round picks and potentially many more to come. With Josh Dobbs playing good to decent, what are the odds we see Kyler get dealt midseason?
I mean, his contract. Okay, so I'll entertain this because contracts-wise, compared to Lamar, compared to Jalen, Daniel Jones, Mahomes, it's not a bad. It's like bottom end of the top 10. So I do see your point. Like maybe like Oakland is like, or Las Vegas is like.
Hear me out.
Okay.
Washington is 2-3 right now. They have a decent defense, and plus, Sam Howell's abysmal.
Thank you.
Like, let's be real here. The dude was really good in North Carolina, but other than that, like,
shut your mouth.
It does like, okay, fine, he was good-ish, but
that's better.
Who's the offensive coordinator in Washington?
Eric Bieniemy.
Tell me Kyler Murray doesn't fit in Washington like a glove with him.
If they keep Scary Terry, it's not the worst thing in the world.
So you're telling me Washington with new ownership and that budget, and they're trying to bring the fan base back, and that is a devoted fan base down there in Washington. That's a devoted fan base that goes back to the 60s. 2 firsts, a second, and throw Chase Young in there and you say, you got Kyler Murray. Done. Cardinals get 3 first-round picks this year. Most likely one of them is or both of them are in the top 5. They get their guy, Caleb Williams. Culture reset, the whole 9 yards. Who says no?
I would take if I'm the Cardinals. If I'm Jonathan Gannon, the slime ball that he is, I would be like, yes, sir, I'll take it. Well, because the thing is, let's be honest. If Kyler gets dealt, he probably gets back quicker out of his injury. He's sitting back as long as possible because he knows there's no rush to come back. The kicker is that I don't know anyone know what the policy is on trading injured players? I don't think you can do it, right?
I think you can. I think you can because we saw the Rams do it with Jalen Ramsey a number of years ago because he was technically injured. He was on the injured list with the Jaguars. So it's possible. But then again, you have to.
It's got to be like a league exemption or something.
You got to wait for him to basically come off the injured reserve list from the ACL tear.
Yeah.
And he might be coming back pre-deadline. We don't know. But if he does come off pre-deadline.
He tore it against New England last year, right?
Yes, he tore his ACL last year against, I believe, the Patriots. But
it was. I was at that game.
There you go. See, there you go.
I'm still pissed.
But if the Cardinals want a full-on cultural reset, there's no better way to do so than to get out of that contract of Kyler Murray. And that was an abysmal deal when they signed it. I was never a big Kyler fan even before he got drafted. But that contract was just like, they suckered up to him. The Cardinals did. Steve Keim, the former GM, suckered up to Murray. And the new management there says, we got to do something here. No better way to jumpstart the rebuild than to trade a franchise quarterback. I've done it. Seahawks have done it. Look where they are now.
Yeah.
No better way to do it than that.
I got you. All right, Mace, you got your research in. What'd you find?
Yeah, I just don't see. I mean, and I like Kyler just because he's an OU guy, but I just don't see someone taking, essentially rolling the dice or taking a flyer on him at this point in the season, just simply because I think teams are. I mean, I guess we've seen wilder trades in the NFL and stupider trades in the NFL, but I think teams and GMs and front offices are going to want to see him come back and actually play post-injury before they give up that much capital, because obviously the talent's there. You put him around a good skill group, a team like Washington that really does have a lot of solid offensive pieces, and they have a good OC who's had great success with Patrick Mahomes and KC, as we know. Mm-hmm. But you give up multiple firsts, you give up your best player on the defensive end. It's like you want some kind of guarantee that this dude's going to come back and be either really close to what he was before or the same. Yeah. So I just don't see someone like the Commanders, 1 year into Sam Howell being the starter, totally rolling the dice on Kyler, even though I think we all know that he'll probably heal up fine. I mean, he's a young guy. He doesn't really – this was his first real injury, I think in his career, because he was never hurt at OU. He never got hurt at A&M before OU. Never had a serious injury in his 2 years in the NFL. So I think this type of trade probably happens during the draft or leading up to
Dan, I think you're 6 months early.
Right. Because it's just like there's too much uncertainty surrounding him and also, the injury and the timeline too, which is just like, we don't really know. Is he going to be good by week freaking 8 or is he going to be fine by week 13? Yeah. That's a big difference. That's a month gap. So,
but in a vacuum, it makes sense.
It totally does. Dan, I think you nailed it for a draft trade. Dan, you may have nailed the trade of the draft right there. And you know what? Honestly, if there's a way to bet on it, I may put money on it and share the winnings with you because honestly, that sounds like something they do. We got to move on though because we've been talking trades for about 30 minutes now. We're gonna talk quick baseball. Then we're gonna go into the Ruck Report and we're gonna steamroll right in to our picks and we're gonna get the fuck out of here. So last chance. Anybody got a quick 30-second blurb on anything else? Trade request? Any bold takes? Quick. Some random trades that happening? Anything?
Texas sweeps Houston. Texas sweeps.
Mason is just sitting there, just like, okay.
You know what?
I had to think about
Texas
that for a
sweeps.
second.
They're really good. They're really freaking good.
They're awesome, man.
There is a competition difference, though, between the very young Orioles and the Astros, who basically shut up camp in the playoffs. I'm just saying. I think it's going to be the best series. I think the NLCS is going to be weird because it's either one. I don't think the NLCS goes more than 6 games. I think whoever the winner of this game tonight, if it's Philly and it's Philly, Arizona, honestly, it's a coin flip to me. But if it's Atlanta, Arizona, I give the edge to Atlanta. But Arizona, the way they played against LA gives me some pause. But anyway, any last second quick NFL trades? Anybody got one quick? Anybody? Any random?
Chandler Jones will be the first player dealt at the deadline.
He's a free agent. Chandler Jones is a free agent. He got released by the Raiders a couple weeks back.
No, a couple days.
When did this happen?
When he had that.
When he lost his marbles.
Yeah, I think.
But I didn't see anything about him not being on the team anymore.
I think
he got released.
I think his brother, my favorite UFC fighter, hit him too hard in the noggin.
All right, well then,
South
if
End
that's
Zone
the case,
said Derrick Henry's another one. To me, that's insane. But they also almost traded him during the offseason. And Tajay Sharp looks phenomenal.
That doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it kind of does actually, because the problem is they don't use him enough, and Tajay Sharp's a lot cheaper.
Well, then since my take is dead, then I'm just gonna back up Dan and say that Texas sweeps. That's all I got.
All right, we'll talk baseball. I just want to give my flowers to first Mason's Astros for being the pinnacle of success in the late 2010s, and now been just setting up shop in the world in the ALCS since 2017. So Mason, congratulations! In honor of you and I had a little glass of a little Houston style bourbon, a little Wild Turkey Long Branch with some Texas Mesquite in it.
I need another one of these, fellas.
There you go.
You guys read that?
Yeah, it says champion. Nice. Does it come with the trash can inscribed on the back or the front?
Is that a microphone wrapped around it, I see?
Ew. Is that an Apple Watch at the top of it?
Is Pabst Blue Ribbon inside of it, or is it actually decent?
I think it's champagne. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to open it.
Yeah, that's more of a ceremonial piece.
Yeah, I just leave it there.
Also, and thank you to my Diamondbacks for giving me the greatest moment of fanhood in the last 2 weeks that I've had in a long time.
20 years.
I listened. 2007 was a fun year too. Even though that team made absolutely no fucking sense how they made the playoffs. But this Diamondbacks team was in first place until July 1st, until their bullpen basically decided to take a vacation for a month. It was fun watching the Dodgers fans squirm and slowly migrate out of the ballpark. That game 1 made the Hurricanes losing to Georgia Tech a little less painful. But last night, I'm not gonna lie, fellas, I had tears of joy when we got that last out, because I had watched for almost a decade those assholes from Chavez Ravine cut our hearts out because they could pay for more players. They get the better players in free agency. Their ownership is willing to make the trades. And it killed me every single fucking year. It broke my heart when we traded Paul Goldschmidt and we got rid of Greinke. Actually, no, Greinke I was kind of done with anyway. But we got rid of a lot of players I like, Gene Segura, all these people and the like. And then finally we break through. So shout out to Corbin Carroll, Torey Lovello, Mike Hayes, and all the boys. Rest in peace to Mrs. Hazen. Watching our GM jump into the pool with the players was the best thing I'd seen all week. And also, Bob Costas is a terrible fucking baseball announcer. Just fucking awful. Just literally sounded like he was had a gun to his head calling a baseball game.
Someone needs to dig up Vince Scully from the grave and pull some voodoo magic to somehow bring him back from the dead.
Rest in peace to the GOAT, because honestly, Vince Scully was the one like opposing team manager I didn't mind listening to. Like the Mets play-by-play guys, I want to put a ice pick through my skull.
Oh, that's pretty bad.
That's a New York thing as a whole.
Well, I mean, listen, like John Sterling and Susan, whatever fucking name, Waldman, I was used to them because my mom used to listen to the Yankee games on like 880 when I was a kid. But like the Mets ones on the broadcast booth, like what is it? Fucking John? Is it John Franco still, or is it fucking Gary? I don't even know.
Gary Cohen, Keith Hernandez, and
Keith is
someone else.
A douche. Okay. Like
That's because he has a mansion on the Hamptons and he gets to go there after the games.
I think it's Ron Darling is the other one.
Ron Darling's terrible too. Fuck. All right. Well,
I love John Sterling, but man, I could go to bed with that voice.
All right. Here we go. So, by the way, boys, cheers to Mason's team, to my team, and to Chris. Hopefully, your Phillies deliver a nice win tonight while you're there, because that place is fucking raucous. Also,
we're not getting boots on ground on video from him.
He's
Did
trying
he learn from when I did it, or we're not doing that again?
Oh no, I just didn't even. My boss actually, who watches the show, shout out to my boss Mike. Both Mikes actually. Both my bosses are named Mike. It's hilarious. Mike at Belly Up and Mike at Delgado Stone. Mike at Delgado Stone asked me, "Hey, are you going to bring him on from the game?" And I said, "Listen, after Matt with the whole thing at the Jets game, I learned my lesson. Also, he's tailgating in the parking lot. He's not even in the ballpark yet."
Those White Claw surges, man, they creep up on you.
Bro, you were fucking living.
Especially when you have like 3 nips on the shuttle, which is like a minute and a half ride.
Well, okay. Can we also talk about the fact that Chris, in an off day, had 10 beers in him before this show started? So, just saying, my boy is probably about to fight a couple of Braves fans. Anyway,
that guy
dangerous game.
All right, Mason, we've waited long enough. I know everyone and their mother is waiting for some good fantasy advice here. So we'll go to you as my screen slowly adjusts. And there we go. We'll drag and drop. There's Mason. So it's time for the Ruck Report, presented by the amazing people at SeatGeek.com. Promo code BELLYUP for $20 off your initial purchase. Mace, the floor is yours, my friend. Let it rip.
Awesome. Let's get into it. Okay, so we are approaching week 6 here in about, 45 minutes. This is about the mid-ish point, nearing the midpoint of a lot of people's fantasy seasons. Most people play 12, 13, 14 weeks of fantasy before they have their playoffs, depending how it's structured. So now is the time to make trades if you are unhappy or need to upgrade your team. So I've got a couple of targets, a couple of guys that you can sell if you are unhappy with them or just looking to upgrade, looking to see what you can get if guys' value is tanking. I've got 3 guys here for options to buy, 4 to sell. So we'll start with the buy options first. This is pretty obvious here. We all heard the news after last Sunday's game with the Minnesota Vikings that Justin Jefferson is going to be put on the IR. And to make matters worse, he included that he is not going to be rushing back from this hamstring injury. So if you are a Justin Jefferson owner, I am one in one league, solely one league. I took McCaffrey with the number 1 pick in the other. You are probably feeling pretty uncomfortable right now. This guy has been very consistent over the past 2 years with the Vikings, both in real life, but also in terms of fantasy. So right now, there is not a lot that you can do in terms of recouping your value for him. I don't really think a lot of people are going to be willing to trade for him because I think at this point, it's very uncertain on when he is going to be coming back. It sounds like he is not really in any rush to come back, considering the Vikings look awful. They were one of the luckiest teams in the NFL, if not the luckiest last year, and we have talked about that on this show ad nauseum. So the number 1 guy for the Vikings going forward is going to be Jordan Addison. Regardless of whether or not you have Justin Jefferson on your roster, he is the type of guy that I would assume in a lot of leagues managers are not going to be willing to deal just because of his upside and his potential and his growing utilization within the Minnesota Vikings team. So he is a guy to target. Like I said, managers or owners that have him at the moment probably not going to want to move off of him. But it never hurts to check the temperature. It never hurts to see what they're wanting. And for me, the scariest thing about Jordan Addison is that, hey, every single week his utilization has been growing. And obviously this is the perfect time now for them to ramp this up. Look, they're going to be in a lot of games, but they're for all the games that they're going to be in, they're also going to be in a lot of games that they're down in. So they're going to be throwing the football a lot. Addison is going to be that go-to target for Kirk Cousins, I'd assume. Him and TJ Hawkinson, I would say. So Addison is definitely the type of guy that you should check the temperature on, see what you can try, and see if the owner is even willing to move him at this point. Moving on, I've got Anthony Richardson here. Worse injury news for him, 4 to 8 weeks with the AC joint sprain. Could be 4, could be 8, could be 6, could be 5, 7. We don't really know. That's a very broad kind of range, right? 1 to 2 months is a long time. So this is primarily the type of guy that if your team is 5-0, 4-1, 3-2, but you've had some really encouraging losses to where, let's say you've just, you've put up a lot of points in your matchups, but you've simply gotten unlucky. This is the type of guy that you should target. He's going to sit in your IR slot for a month or two, like I said. But hey, as we all know, in a lot of leagues, streamer options are definitely available. If you do your research, if you look into it week to week and target your favorable matchups, you can absolutely pick up guys like Jared Goff, Matthew Stafford, Russell Wilson, people like that who have absolutely shown in their given week, on any given week, on their day, that they are absolutely serviceable streamer options. I've actually considered going after Richardson. The price seems to be too high for what this guy is wanting in the one league that I'm really kind of prioritizing, but I'm working with Joe Burrow here, so I'm absolutely looking to upgrade my quarterback. I'm 4-1 in that league, so he's the type of guy that if you do have a solid squad and you've been able to win games despite having a reliable quarterback option, check it out. Maybe wait a week or two and see if the manager starts to drop some more games and they're getting impatient and they're trying to, recoup a little bit of value. Try and go after him because we've seen what this dude is capable of. Week 2, 17 points in a quarter. 17 points in a quarter. Highly impressive what he's doing. Next year, if not for the rest of this year, I think this dude is a lock to be a top 10 fantasy quarterback. I don't think you can argue with that at all. He is just such a dynamic threat on both the ground and through the air. And when he really hones in those skills, he is going to be a really, really difficult quarterback to go play. Moving on, our last buy option here is going to be Dameon Pierce, the running back for the Houston Texans. So I am a Pierce owner. I know Matt is a Pierce owner in one league. He has been very underwhelming through 5 weeks. However, there are sunny days ahead. Last week, 100% of the running back carries for the Houston Texans. 100%. Those are astronomical numbers. 66 yards on 20 carries, 1 reception for 16 yards. Only had 8.7 fantasy points. That's on half PPR scoring. But this week he's getting 2 key linemen back. That is Laramie Tunsil, their left tackle, and Titus Howard. They are easily the 2 best linemen on the team for the Houston Texans. They are going to come in very handy for Pierce, who has really yet to have a breakout game this year through 5 weeks. So look, 100% of the running back carries, 8.7 fantasy points on half PPR scoring. We can go ahead and chalk that up to just being flat out unlucky. You get 20 carries in any other game. I don't care who you're playing, man. you're at least probably scoring a touchdown, and I'd assume that you're running for close, if not more than 100 yards. So even if he gets, let's say kind of the benchmark being like 80% of the carries, right? Let's say he's on an 80-20 split with Devin Singletary. We can only assume that, let's say he's getting 15, 17 carries a ball game. He's going to put up numbers, right? Very rarely do you have 20 carries and 1 catch for, a grand total of, what would this be, 82 total yards? That just doesn't happen. That doesn't happen. That's a fake performance there. So I'm not suggesting that this guy is going to be a solid RB1 moving forward. Not at all. But I think he absolutely has RB2 potential. I think you can get him for dirt cheap right now. Guys who own him are probably pretty unhappy, like me and Matt. And, I think he's a flex play. I think he's an RB2 play in deeply or kind of in leagues maybe where you're a little bit desperate. But things are looking up for him. I think he's a really nice steal on this list. And like I said, you can get him for virtually nothing right now. Okay, moving on to ourselves for these guys. Starting off with a totally fraudulent player here. George Kittle, tight end for the San Francisco 49ers. He's coming off, I believe, right here, 26.2 fantasy point performance, 3 touchdowns last week against Dallas, and the nice little shirt there saying "Fuck Dallas." He will incur a nice little fee from the NFL at some point. So let me just give you a few stats here. 12th amongst target share for tight ends, 17th in targets, 16th in catches, and 10th in receiving yards. Those are amongst tight ends, right? Very, very subpar numbers for a guy that many consider to be, I think, going into this season, I don't know, the third best tight end, the fourth best tight end, however you want to rank it. Kelsey, Andrews, Hawkinson, Kittle, right? However you want to rank it. Kelsey's going to be the first guy on that list, and then you can rank the other 3 however you want. But as we know, the Niners have way too many mouths to feed. McCaffrey, Debo, Ayuk, Kittle, and Kittle's probably that 4th option. Debo's been a little bit up and down. McCaffrey's been the most consistent guy on that team in terms of fantasy. But look, 26.2 point performance. You'd be sorely mistaken to not go and shop that, right? That's his best game of the year, 3 touchdowns. Really strong performance against a solid defense who's a little bit banged up, but prime time he showed out. So look, he's got real high upside every single week just because the Niners, man, they look unstoppable right now. They are really, really looking sharp on the offensive end. So in terms of fantasy, he's got a real high upside, right? He's got a very low floor, but he's got a very high upside, and we saw that Sunday night, 26.2 points. So if I'm a Kittle owner and I'm looking to capitalize on this really solid performance from him last Sunday, trying to go out and get Sam Laporta 1 for 1, I think it's possible. Not all owners. I certainly wouldn't take that deal. I'm a Laporta owner in 2 leagues.
Pray on the suckers. I got it.
Right. Exactly, Jared. I'm not making that deal. I don't care what you're offering me. I'm not moving Laporta, but I think, people who are clueless, they see that he missed practice today. He's got a calf injury. Maybe they're like, shoot, man, maybe this is just a 2-week, 3-week off performance for this rookie. I don't believe in him. I'm trying to get the more stable guy on the better team. So you can try and go 1 for 1 for Laporta. And then I think if you really want to try and reach and totally go big or go home, take a real big home run swing, try and put him together with another solid kind of like WR3, RB2 flex option and try and go out and get a Travis Kelce, Mark Andrews, TJ Hawkinson. See what you can do, right? It never hurts to text the guy and ask him what the temperature is, how tightly he's holding on to a player. So, look, sell high, right? Great performance. Try to get as much as you can for him. Take that as you will. Okay, moving on. Just an even more fraudulent performance by this player who I am not afraid to say flat out sucks. And so does his quarterback. This is DJ Moore, wide receiver, Chicago Bears. Huge win for Chicago last week, 40-20. This time last week on Thursday night. Everything was clicking for the Bears. We all saw it. Justin Fields was just, moving around in the pocket. He really looked like the player that they went out and drafted. I got to give him his flowers. He looked sharp last Thursday. Him and Moore, that Kim and that link up was on. 8 catches, 230 yards, 3 touchdowns, 45 fantasy points on half PPR scoring. Very impressive. They played an underwhelming opponent who is not great, but hey, man, 45 points. You can't dispute that. So, look, DJ Moore is totally exceeding his preseason value. 5th round ADP ranking for this dude. Wide receiver 20 type material, right? 45 points from the WR20. That's impressive, right? I'm here to tell you, and you can prove me wrong later in the show. Keep the receipts. He's not going to do this again. I am willing to risk it all to make that bet. He's not giving you 45 points again this season or any other season in the future. 45 points from DJ Moore is
this was Antonio Gates game.
It's lightning in a bottle. Lightning in a bottle. It's not going to happen again. Great game for him, like I said. And I will say this. If someone wants to argue with you and try and kind of bring down his value and say, oh, no, it's just a one-off performance, wasn't great, whatever. That's 3 games in a row with a touchdown for DJ Moore, and that's 4 straight games with double-digit fantasy points, 3 of those being over 14. He's had 1 with 11, 14-plus in 3 out of those 4. So decently consistent, pretty solid. I just don't think a lot of people are comfortable with the Chicago offense at this point. I think people are out on Fields. I think they're going to start running the ball with Fields a little bit more. I think the pass option, as we all know and have seen, is not reliable for Justin Fields at this moment in time. Maybe that changes in a year. But this year, not his strong suit. So I think you can flip him for WR1 talent. I think you can get a real option for yourself. Look, those are 3 very powerful statistics.
To hear that, DJ, you got to trade him so you don't kill me in fantasy anymore.
No, I'm sticking with him. I respect it, but he's sticking with me. He's been very consistent for me, so I'm sticking. I get your point. You're not wrong, but he's been steady and he's good for garbage time points or real time points at this point.
So let me ask you something, DJ. Where do you have him in your lineup? Is he your flex? Is he your WR2? What is he?
It varies. I think I move him around depending on the matchup, but because I have him in 2 leagues, so I'm trying to remember. One of them, he's my receiver 2 behind AJ Brown. The other one, okay. I think he's like 1A, 1B, 1C. So it's like him, Michael Pittman. They're all like the same tier.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, look. I think kind of like Kittle, this is the opportunity to sell high, man. This is 3 weeks in a row where he's really exceeding his value, and it exploded for 45 points. Like, you got to take advantage of the value being at an all-time season high right here, right now. Get what you can for him and get out of there, because I'm telling you right now, the value is not going to be there in 4 weeks. You're not going to be able to get what you would be able to right now in 4 weeks. All right, moving on. These are quick here. Zach Moss, George Pickens. Okay, JT's coming back. Last week, Moss totally dominated, right? Totally dominated. I think he had 23.
He had like $150 plus, right?
Yes, and he had like 23 carries. Ridiculous. So if you're a Zach Moss owner and let's say you're optimistic about the Colts are going to feed the hot hand, and Moss has made a name for himself, and he's got his foot in the door, and he's going to be fine. Whatever. Taylor had 3 less carries in him last week. 3 less carries, and Steichen came out today and said that they're going to ramp up his kind of usage and production starting this week. So if you're a Zach Moss owner, get rid of him, man. We thought this was going to be a split. Last week it was a split. I'm here to tell you 3 years, $42 million. They're not. It's not going to be a 50-50 split. It's not going to be a 60-40 split. They paid this guy, way too much, but they locked him down, gave him the money that he probably deserved, and they're not going to 50-50, 60-40 split this guy. No chance, no way. So right now, I think you got to get your value right now, because after this week, you're going to get nothing. He's going to be a guy that's going to sit on your bench, and nobody's going to want any piece of that. So for me, I think this is a great opportunity to hit the line on Jahmyr Gibbs owners. Because as we all know, I was a Jahmyr Gibbs owner. I am in one league. I moved off him in another. It has been an incredibly underwhelming season for Gibbs owners. He has not lived up to the potential. I think at some point during the season he will. But those managers are probably very unhappy with him right now. So check in with them. See if you can move for him. Wait it out on Gibbs. Other than that, you're looking at flex RB3 value for this dude. You got to get what you can right now. Next week, you're not going to be able to get anything for him. Okay, last one, George Pickens. We've got Deontay Johnson coming back in Week 7 at the Rams. Deontay Johnson, he's going to be the number one option for this Pittsburgh offense. Look, we've seen the big play potential from Pickens this season, right? We saw it last week in the game-winning touchdown versus Baltimore. Great catch, great route, totally burned whoever he was on. I can't remember who was lined up on the other side of him. Great catch, game winner, buzzer beater, awesome. But look, Pickens is one of the best players. He is probably upper 80th percentile in terms of catches and receptions on man-to-man coverage. Deontay Johnson is excellent against zone and man. Pickens terrible against the zone. Coming up, Week 7, 8, 9, they play teams. I'd have to go look at the schedule. I didn't include it here on my notes. But they're playing teams that primarily use the zone coverage. You can go ahead and assume that number one, Deontay is the favorite option of Pickett here. So he's already going to take a hit just because he's not that go-to. And then on top of that, they're playing teams that Pickens does not match up well simply because of a scheme, a scheme difference. Pickens is not good against the zone. He's great at man, not good against the zone. So take advantage of the big performance he had last week against Baltimore. They've got a bye coming up, and then they got at the Rams, Week 7. And hey, I bet in a lot of leagues Deontay's on waivers. I know in one league, in my most important league with my OU people, he was on waivers. Someone picked him up today. No one even picked him up on Tuesday waivers. So go and check and see if Deontay's on the waiver wire. If you can, dump Pickens and go pick up Deontay, because I'm telling you, Deontay, maybe, Week 7, he's not going to be great, but I guarantee every single week they're going to implement him more. He's going to look more and more like himself, and he's going to be that go-to option. Okay, that is all I've got. Anybody have any comments, questions? Anybody they want to throw out?
Should I drop Sky Moore?
Yeah, man. I don't feel good about anybody on Kansas City receiving core except for Travis Kelce.
Fair enough.
People have been talking about I don't know how you say his first name. Is it Rashee Rice?
Rashid Shaheed.
No. The rookie out of SMU. Rookie out of SMU. Rashee Rice. Okay, I don't know how to say his name, but people have been high on him. He's actually had like some decent games, but I mean, yeah, I don't feel good about Justin Ross or Rice or Tony or anybody in that offense, just because they just look so mid, man.
I've
been trying to get rid of Cordero Patterson for weeks now, and every time I put in a waiver to get rid of him, it doesn't go through. I always get like jumped. So I'm just kind of like accepting the fact that I think he's just unmovable.
Yeah, I mean, it's Algier and Bijan, and I feel like every week it just becomes more Bijan, Like the hype just grows and grows and grows. So, I mean, yeah, Matt, that might be a drop candidate, brother.
Oof.
Mason hanging out the hammer of God right now. I love it.
Sometimes you got to do it, Matt. I mean, sometimes that's what you got to do, bro. It freaking hurts.
What's your feelings on like a Jonathan Mingo?
Yeah, actually. So look, I think it's a safe pickup right now. Obviously, that dude's not going to be a start, but it's interesting because there's been all this buzz and chatter about a lot of these, kind of average receivers, Judy, Hollywood. I feel like I'm missing one other guy talking about potentially being on the block. Mecole Hardman. We saw Mecole Hardman at the end of last week saying that the Jets are probably going to deal him. I think those are all candidates for trades to the Panthers. So Mingo, you just got to wait and see if the Panthers move for a WR1, man, because I know they're now rolling with Thielen for the rest of the year. That's not happening. But hey, Matt, I like him better than Cordero for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah. My options are him and Ezekiel.
Yeah, I'd totally go Mingo then.
Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate Mason. You are my fantasy guru. I will text you with any fancy info I have. By the way, Mace, you will get about 14 texts from me tomorrow and Saturday. I am playing my boss at my day job, and he watches this show. So you've actually won him games, by the way. So I made sure all the guys you said are not on his team. So at least that I saw. So I might have
another guy. I will say I will interrupt you real quick. I forgot to include this guy, but he just popped into my head. I think another guy to buy. I think I said his name last week. Jalen Waddle. I think owners are very upset. They're very underwhelmed. Go out and get him. Thank me later. See what the temperature is. You can probably get him for pretty cheap. And I think, yes, last week was his first game with a touchdown. So go out and go. I mean, just go check the temperature. Just go see what it is.
Here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the time we've all been waiting for. Dan, wake up. It's showtime.
I'm awake, man. I'm just checking Twitter. Jesus.
Listen, you're the rookie. I got to fuck with you. That's what happens. Like, listen, ask Nate. He did 2 straight rookie shows. But ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the most amazing part of the Corner with Pregame, America's favorite segment. A time where we make fools of ourselves, make bets we can't keep, and where Matt eventually wins some fucking way. It's time for the 6-pack presented by Candidate CBD. All right. By the way, if you are like me and you dipped for a while, this stuff is magic. It is the best way to get yourself off of dipping the nasty shit, save your teeth. It is CBD. It is 10 milligrams per pouch. It comes in amazing flavors like mango, peach, Arnold Palmer, the spearmint, which tastes like wintergreen, the cool mint, which tastes like actual mint, like Copenhagen. As a Copenhagen guy myself, I greatly appreciate this brand. They are the best company to work for. Promo code work with. Promo code BELLYUP20 for 20% off. They are one of our best sponsors. We love them to death. Check them out right now. By the way, quick go. The game just started. Broncos Chiefs. Anybody have the Broncos winning tonight?
I want chaos.
All right.
I want Javonte Williams bangerang, man. That's all I want.
Anybody have the Broncos covering?
They cover. They find a way.
What's the line?
It's like 9. It's like 9.5 or something like that. It's something ridiculous. Oh no, it's up to 10.
I think they can cover it.
10.5. 10.5. Anybody have the Broncos covering? Do I get one, twice, 3 times? I got Dan. I got Matt. I got DJ. All right. I am not saying the Chiefs take this one by force. T Swift's in the crowd tonight. They might kill them. All right. Speaking of disappointments, we're going to start with my Miami Hurricanes going in the Chapel Thrill, taking on the UNC Tar Heels. That being said, give me the fucking Hurricanes to win. Shocker of the century. Here's the kicker. I said this on the Tailgate in the Quad podcast about 2 hours ago. I said, listen, the only way Miami was going to win this game against North Carolina is if they lost to Georgia Tech. They needed to get a reality check. They played sloppy twice in a row after their win over Texas A&M. This Miami team has an elite pass rush. They have physical defensive backs along with 2 All-American safeties. And they have a pretty good quarterback who's from my home state. His name's Tyler Van Dyke. You might have heard of him. And 3 decent receivers and a lot of depth at running back position. The problem with North Carolina is they have one solo weapon in Tez Walker, and it's a bunch of mediocre guys. And then there's that pro college quarterback named Drake May. Miami has not beaten North Carolina. I believe the last time they beat it was 2017. Mario wants to get back on the right track after basically 80% of the Miami fan base called for his job after that fumble that wasn't a fumble debacle. So, that being said, give me Miami to kick the head in. It's going to be closer than the score indicates. I mean, no, it's going to be not as close as the score indicates. I think UNC is going to keep it close, but the physicality of Miami is going to overwhelm UNC. I think UNC falls.
Hurricanes by a touchdown.
I love it. Oh, by the way, the intern is giving me his picks. I'll read them at the end.
Give me UNC.
Bitch.
Just because I need to save my upset pick for another one.
It's not an upset because if you flip it, they'd be it'd only be a 0.5 favorite if it was in Miami.
That being said, we'll go on UNC.
All right.
UNC and they cover.
I'll wrap it up. Yeah, I'm rolling with DJ here. I think UNC wins in the cover.
Lack of faith. I find your lack of faith disturbing. The intern also took UNC. I am lone wolfing tonight.
Do you not just hear him
Lone
say
wolfing.
I said Canes by a touchdown.
No, I'm talking about on the show. I mean, I like the four of the guys of the podcast, not the guests. The guys whose picks actually are like actually locked in, but
Acceptable,
right? Okay, I'm not completely out of pocket here. All right, next up, we're going to Oregon, Washington. Mason, you're up first. A little Pac-12 passing league action. Who you got?
Sweet. Yeah, I am taking the Ducks here.
Quack attack.
I'm going to be taking Oregon as well, even though that means they're going to lose because Bo Nix always goes with whatever I go with, like as in he just goes to the opposite. Yeah, so I'm taking Oregon and expecting Washington to win.
Deej.
Washington and they cover. Penix
There you go. I'm rolling with DJ as well. I'm taking Washington. I think the best Oregon win this year has been Colorado, whose defense literally looks like a passing league defense. That being said, I think Michael Penix Jr., this is his statement game. Give me Washington.
Washington wins by 2 touchdowns, and Michael Penix has his Heisman game.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think whichever team wins, I think this is gonna be a high scoring game. Obviously, they don't play any defense in this league, so I think whoever wins this game, the quarterback for that team is going to be the favorite to win the Heisman after this week.
I think Chris forgets how the upset picks works. He pulled a Matt. He picked Oregon to be an upset, but it only counts as one because that's basically an even. It's okay. Listen, I'll let Chris. I'll text Chris later because there's no Thursday games involved here. He can pick another one. All right. We're going to go to the last college football game, the Reggie Bush Push Bowl. USC Notre Dame. Anybody remembers that gets my joke. All right. That being said, USC coming off of a nice win. They got a little hairy against Colorado at the end. Notre Dame's taking.
Are you not remembering what happened last week to USC? They needed 3 overtimes to beat Arizona, my friend.
I am like my brain just shut off. I'm so sorry.
I guess that reveals who I'll be picking, but I'll get to that in a second.
Yeah. All right, Mace, you take it away because apparently I can't talk anymore. I'm gonna drink some water, some seltzer now.
That sure as hell ain't water.
This is non-alcoholic actually. Spindrift, shout out.
That looks like what happens when you drink too much water and then you put it in a cup.
Non-alcoholic, motherfucker. All right, Mace, you're up. Go.
Gotcha. Yeah, I am no longer afraid of this USC team. Everybody knows I fucking hate USC. Yeah, I think they're pathetic, man. You look at their schedule over the next 6 weeks, they have Utah. So starting with this week, Notre Dame, Utah, Cal, Washington, Oregon, UCLA. They're dropping minimum 2 games in the next 6. I don't think that's a crazy thing to say. You needed 3 overtimes to beat Arizona at home. 3 OTs. Not moved by this team. 2 bad performances in a row. They almost choked to Colorado. They don't play any defense, man. I had to endure this for 4 years at OU before Lincoln left. I'm not impressed with this team. I don't think they're in the Pac-12 championship, period. It's going to be crummy weather on Saturday night in South Bend. I think Notre Dame – I think it's going to be a close game just because USC's offense is sharp, I will say. But, yeah, I like the Irish to win. I think they probably win by like 10 points at home.
Mace, you're going to love my pick then.
All right.
Notre Dame by shutout, 21-0.
That would be awesome. I'd love that. And just send them spiraling, dude. Like,
you know what's so funny? Me and Mace, you and me picked exactly the exact opposite three. We disagree on every college pick today.
hey,
Which means one of us is going to be really fucking happy this weekend.
right.
Watch it be a shutout. That'd be
And
hilarious.
By the way, for the record, Mace is only 1 point behind me in the standings right now for second place. Matt's like trying to do his best Tyreek Hill impression and run away early, but he may sprain an ankle and fall over. Anyway, I'm going to take USC for the simple fact that I don't know, man. Everything just seems off. They don't have the speed to keep up with USC. I don't need USC to out-physical them. I just need them to outscore them. And when you have the best quarterback in the country, that kind of makes it easier. So, that being said, I think this game is going to be really fucking close. Notre Dame might even fucking cover. Actually, no. Sorry. Wrong choice of words here. I think USC is going to win, but it's going to be less than 3 points. Like, this may be a pushing the guy in for 2-point conversion, Matt Leinart, Reggie Bush throwback kind of feel, because I think Notre Dame is a tier B team where USC is a tier 1B team. So, like, USC is just slightly better because of their athleticism. That's the only reason they're going to win this game. Give me USC by less than a field goal.
And I also would like to add, I'm fairly certain of this. I don't know if this is like for sure, but I know Zach Branch, or I've heard that Zach Branch will be playing. So I think that adds for USC because I think he's, outside of Caleb, I think he's for sure their best offensive weapon.
Maddie.
I like USC. I hate their quarterbacks for personal reasons, Mark Sanchez, Sam Darnold. But besides all of that, I am going to take USC over Notre Dame this week. So I'm going with the Trojans.
All right, and Deej.
USC is losing 2 games this year, but it's not this one. I think they'll beat Notre Dame by 10. I don't think Notre Dame has the athletes or the firepower.
I feel so much better now. Matt, I'm sorry because my brain blanked out. You took Notre Dame?
No, USC.
Okay.
He even started with as much as I hate this.
Yeah, I know. The problem is that I am running on less than 5 hours of sleep for the third straight night in a row, and my brain's starting to shut off, as you guys have clearly seen today. This is what happens when your baseball team plays on the West Coast, and it fucking kills me. So the fact
boil some milk, bro. Boil some milk and drink it. It'll actually knock you out.
It's about staying up for watching the game, Dan. It's not more about I'm intentionally staying up. I'm just exhausted. Anyway, moving on. Pro Ball time. This is the games you all came for here. We're going to start off with the Seattle Sea Chickens versus the Bengals. And
thanks, man. Listen, I think
me twice this year, Dan. I'm a little bitter.
If I'm being real here, Cincinnati's offensive line is not much better than the Giants. The only difference here is that Cincinnati has far better weapons and a far better quarterback. It'll be close. It'll be very close, and the Seahawks have to get to Joe Burrow if they even stand a chance, realistically. But I think Seattle wins, but in overtime, 27-24.
Fair enough. Deej.
I'm going to take Seattle too because I don't think the Bengals defense can contain them. And at the same time, the Seahawks pass rush probably won't affect the Bengals offensive line. So I think it's going to be 34-37, something stupid like that.
It may be the alcohol talking, but I also am a big Geno fan. They didn't write back, though. I'm taking the Sea Chickens because here's the kicker, right? I just like Seattle's moxie. I love the fact that they can speech you passing or handing the ball off to Kenneth, my boy, Mr. Walker. One of my fantasy studs this year, by the way, Mace. All I'll say is right now is that the Bengals have to prove to me they can beat a team not named the Arizona Cardinals. So, that being said, give me the Sea Chickens. Mr. Matthew.
So these are all very tough because they're not one of them is a runaway clear cut.
Mason
like this
picked
team
the
is
most
gonna win.
competitive 6-pack of all time.
Yeah,
I'm saying,
it's
dude,
tough.
I think this is the tightest week that we've had.
I was
this
surprised
season.
you didn't put it in Tampa Bay versus
Lions.
I was really surprised. I mean, we can swap one out. It's just we can swap it out because I mean, does anybody really care about Chargers versus? No, I'm just kidding. I'll fuck with you. Does anybody care? Do we really want to pick Colts versus Jags? We all know.
I was gonna say yeah.
So we're gonna swap that out. DJ, you can still pick the game as an honorary guest. We're gonna swap that game out.
Okay.
I mean, I'll pull the line for it real quick.
That team stinks. I don't want to talk about them.
Fair enough.
Praise the Church of Trevor Lawrence. The Jaguars win by 2. But somehow Trevor Lawrence and the church prevails.
I love this kid's fucking soundboard. He's almost as big a menace as Kelsey right now.
I'm gonna go Bengals on this one, and it's really nothing besides the fact that I just saw on Twitter the other not long ago about the whole the chirping of Witherspoon's gonna lock up Jamar Chase. Now I'm just expecting Jamar Chase to have the wildest game of his career. So give me the Bengals in a very
He's my fantasy
the closest Texas sweeps. You got a good one?
Oh my god! All right.
But yeah, give me the Bengals on that one.
Fair enough.
There it is. Redemption.
Dan, I do love your soundboard, man. It's probably the most creative. All right, Mace, finish strong here, Bubba.
I will be taking the Sea Chickens. Look, man, and I'm kind of actually hoping that this is just like a high-scoring shootout.
Me too.
Just because I have Burrow, I have T. Higgins, and it's sounding like T. Higgins is trending towards playing this week. So it would be very encouraging. I don't care if they win or lose at all, but it would be very encouraging to see Burrow from solely a fantasy perspective, go out there and throw for like 250 and like 2 TDs. That would be very encouraging for me personally. But, however, I'm going to be taking Seattle here.
There you go. All right. Moving on to our last game. After a little audible, Colts-Jags. The thing is, I would love to take the Colts because I want Jonathan Taylor to run fucking wild to win me my friend league because I want to keep that trophy in this basement here. That being said, the Jags and the Colts have some weird little curse in Jacksonville. DJ, I know you don't want to elaborate on it because it cost you guys a playoff berth under
0-8. 0 for 8.
Carsonimus Maximus Kamikaze Wences. I don't know. Either way, the winner of the NFC South and the NFC North, in my opinion, this could be a playoff matchup, low key. Lions Buccaneers. Lions 3-point Bucks are home dogs. Give me fucking Detroit, man. I am a Dan Campbell truther. I have been, and Matt knows this, and so does Mason. I am president of his fan club. I am all about biting kneecaps, man. We're here for this,
We bite kneecaps today, boys. Let me tell you something, brother. We bite kneecaps all day, boys.
Go straight Hulk Hogan. I love it. Also, Amon-Ra St. Brown is playing. So, boom! Give me Jared Goff and the fellas by at least a tutty. We're going in. Lions.
Yeah, I like this rejuvenation of Baker Mayfield and everything, but I just am so high on Detroit right now, and it's just like we were saying last week. You just can see everything that Detroit was building since they brought in Dan Campbell with this team, and it's really exciting to see this actually work. Jets maybe figure that out, but so I'm gonna go with the Lions on this one as well. I think it'll be a close game, but I think Jared Goff is a warm-weathered quarterback that always does well in that atmosphere. So give me Detroit in this one.
Okay. Mace.
I am going Detroit here.
Nice.
I think they're the better team.
Deej.
Motor City.
MCDC lives on, and the rookie guest, Mr. Dan. Who you taking?
Want to see Dan Campbell bite off kneecaps for days, boys.
Dan Campbell seems like a Long Island blue collar guy. I just feel like that right now.
Honestly, I wouldn't blame you if someone do a quick Google search. Where is Dan Campbell from?
Where's Chris when you need? No, he's at a fucking Phillies.
I'm
game.
gonna Google this real quick. Where is Dan Campbell from?
All right.
Campbell from.
Okay.
Oh, Texas guy, Clifton, Texas. How about that?
That doesn't surprise me at all. All
I
right,
wonder what that
speaking of
is.
Texas, amazing segue. Cowgirls Chargers live from SoFi.
I don't trust either one of these teams,
Thank you.
truthfully.
Thank you. I picked when Mason put this game in the chat. I'm sitting there with my director of sales. I'm saying, "Fuck, I don't want to pick this." Damn it.
Brandon Staley's gonna get fired midseason, and the Cowboys are just weird. I don't know. Part of me wants to say I want chaos and pick the Cowboys, but then again, at the same point, I want equal as much chaos. So bring on the Chargers. Give me the Chargers by, I don't know, a field goal.
All right, Deej.
Taking the Chargers too. Austin Eckler's coming back as well. The Cowboys are reeling, and they just beat the piss out of not so good teams this year. When they play the somewhat decent teams, well, we saw what happened.
Fair. Mace.
I am going with the Chargers here at home. I don't like anything about Dallas. I think that they are completely overrated. I think Dak is folding in big time spots like no other. This is like the worst it's ever been.
So Mace, is this your upset pick for this week?
Yeah.
All right, we're in solidarity here, kiddo, because I'm going Chargers too. Give me Big Justin and the boys to take them out. Austin Eckler's playing this week. All you fucking need.
Justin Herbert also has amazing lettuce for hair.
Yeah, Herbert's sick.
Let's be real here. We'd all have that hair one of these days, especially DJ. Sorry, bro.
No, I'm good.
Sorry,
You get this one. Just for that.
We will not be comparing me to Tim Riggins today.
I was really been thinking about this one all day, and at first I was like, it's really going to come down to who is the least atrocious of a head coach, and that is the McCarthy. But I just can't do it. Just like, I don't know, Dak Prescott was so bad last week, and to think like he's going to have some sort of bounce back game, like, no, he's just not going to. I think that pass rush will get to him. I know they have equally as good of a pass rush, if not obviously better, but I mean, them losing Diggs really just turned this whole season around in a negative way for them, and I think they're going to just air it out. I think Eckler's back, and I think they're going to have too many things to kind of just going on to stop them, everybody. So I'll take the Chargers at the end of the day on this one.
So Chris is the only one who did not take the Chargers. So it's not a house upset, which means if the Chargers win, the three of us get 2 points, and Chris falls even farther back in last place. But apparently I'm the kiss of death for the Cowboys, so I should have picked them. But then if I pick them, they lose. If I pick against them, they lose. If I pick with them, they lose. It doesn't matter. So at this point, they lose. Let that one sink in. All right, so me, Matt, and Mace all have gimmies. I got to talk to Chris. He took the Georgia over Vanderbilt as his gimme, but the problem is he doesn't really have an upset, so I will text him tomorrow morning when he wakes up semi-hungover. So, Mace, you got a gimme for me.
Michigan over Indiana.
All righty. Matthew, give me a gimme.
I'm trying to find which. I think it was Penn. Trying to find out if that was
Penn
the
State?
one. Oh yeah, Penn State over Mass.
Easy money.
I could be super fucking ballsy here and take the Bills.
Oh man,
over the
don't
Giants.
do it.
Yeah, but then I watched Matt lose 2 of them in a row.
Yeah,
So
because
that
I also thought Miami over the Panthers. I'm like, you know what? All these trap games with like these like the 1-4 and the 0-5s, like you just never know. I'm good.
Yeah, no, I was originally going to take Ohio State over Purdue, but then Kevin has it stuck in my head that Purdue's going to win. And I'm just like, and as much as Kevin is like basically the Mad Hatter's drunk cousin, I don't want to do it. So that being said, my gimme this week is going to be Give me Bama over Arkansas.
That really is, man. You know, Arkansas is a hard place to go play, but they're just so shit right now, dude. That it's just, is that line like? Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be way off.
Right, it's 19.5 right now.
Yes. Okay. Yeah, that was exactly what I was going to say. I mean, isn't that just embarrassing if you're an Arkansas fan, man? Just embarrassing. But yeah, truly, like I think they beat them by 3 touchdowns, easy.
I just don't care if it beat by 1 fucking point. I just don't want to lose a gimme again. Last week was just fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
You scumbags screwed me. All right, gentlemen. It has been a pleasure. Dan.
Can I have a gimme?
You can have a gimme, man. This is for fun at this point because you're not on the show bet, but go for it.
So, even though this team is a bunch of frauds, San Francisco gimme over Cleveland.
Okay, yeah. Honestly, that was my third stringer behind Bills and Giants. So yeah,
San Francisco's played nobody, and people are praising them as the best team in football.
They
played nobody.
I feel like you have an axe to grind here, though.
No, I'm serious. Like, I'm not just saying this as a division rival. When they played the Rams back in week 2, I think it was, Stafford, if he didn't get sacked 9 times, they would have won that game.
I mean, I think you have to admit, though, look, we might all joke around and say, like, oh, yeah, Dallas sucks, right? But it's like, look, they might suck, man, but going out and beating them 42-10 is pretty impressive. It doesn't matter how you cut, like, how bad you think Dallas is. They absolutely stomped them. Like, and I think, to me, there's something to say for that.
I'm not saying you're wrong with that, but wait until they play, I don't know,
Philly,
Seattle and Philly 3 straight weeks. That's going to really test them.
If they go 3-0, I will hand them the fucking Lombardi right now.
Fine, I'll do that. Praise them. I have no distaste for Niner fans. I have none.
Oh, I have a ton of them.
Yeah, shoot, man, that is a tough stretch.
That's worse than our stretch.
That is nasty, man.
We got Buffalo, KC, Dallas, and then Seattle.
And I mean, shoot, November 23rd, December 3rd, December 10th. I mean, those are all going to probably be pretty cold, crummy weather games. Like,
bring it on.
Yeah.
Bring it on, baby.
Let's see it, Purdy.
Exactly. Let's see it. Let's see if you're not just a product of the Shanahan system.
There you go. All right. Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure. Dan, where can we find your amazing content and your amazing voice?
I appreciate that, my friend. You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Staniel Smooth, all one word, and at Time to BS Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. Also, follow us on YouTube, Apple, Spotify, just those 3 mainly. I mean, we're chill. We're just chilling, having a good time, and
I think you fit in definitely in the culture here, buddy.
The culture is strong always, my friend.
All right, and Mr. DJ, where can we find you and that handsome bastard, Kelsey?
You can find us every Wednesday, 8 p.m., YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, wherever you'd like to. We're all social media accounts, Instagram, all of them. And you can always find us anywhere you get your podcast, Spotify, Apple, etc. as well. We have Tier Tuesdays every Tuesday and DJ's Best Bets every weekend. Went 5 for 6 last weekend, so it's actually viable at this point. Real in some money, so go check all of those out.
Hell yeah. All right. You can find me, that handsome devil Mason, that married man, Mr. Matt, and that wild animal Chris at Corner Booth Pod. You can find Mace at Corner Booth MR, Matt at Corner Booth Matt, and Big Wisp, me at Belly Up Jared and Corner Booth Jared. And you can find Donut in Dan's lap. Ghost is currently passed out on the couch over there. I'm not waking his grumpy ass up. Ladies and gentlemen, we appreciate you stopping by today. Enjoy the weekend. Watch some football. Congrats to my Diamondbacks for making me believe in the world again. And fuck LA as always. Gentlemen, enjoy your weekends. Dan, thank you for making your Corner Booth debut. Peace.
Smoke weed every day.